Hey, my name is Marco. I am a former pro opera singer, and I love talking about video game music from an emotional perspective after a decade on the stage. I have to say, Red and Blue were the first and only Pokemon games I have ever played. I know that we have had many Pokemon game since those, and today we're going to be listening to some of that music and checking it out. A lot of Pokemon Black and White in this list that you shared with me. Not entirely sure why, but I think that must be a very big peak, as well as some Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Here we go, Elite Four battle music from Pokemon Black and White. A lot of dissonance in there. Almost spooky scary, but not. A ton of tension, obviously. Some nice glissandi there in the piano sliding up and down. Obviously a piece of just pure tension, really fast. It's picking up in rhythm and tempo. A little bit of optimism in there. Da da da. Interesting harmony. Quite a bit of percussion in here, percussive beat pattern. What this really stems down to is that this is a battle against absolute dire straits. Now, obviously, I would assume that you're fighting against the Elite Four at the same time, fighting against their ultra difficult Pokemon. I don't know if you're supposed to win this battle or not, but one of the things that really sticks out to me is how unrelentingly fast that piece is and how forward moving that is in terms of its tempo and in terms of the percussive rhythm. There is, of course, a melody, but that has a ton of enharmonic notes in it. And those enharmonic notes are meant to sound distressing. You know, that whole experience there is supposed to make us feel on edge. And really, obviously, when we look at the emotional context of a piece like that, we're going to feel stressed. The thing is like fighting the Elite Four at the same time, or one after the other, whatever it may be, would be an incredibly stressful experience for a young Pokemon trainer on their way to hopefully, you know, garner success and win all the badges. And so you feel this sense of almost dread within that soundscape. And then you basically have no room to breathe, which is why we get that. It's like you can't breathe. Interesting piece. Really intense, really obviously sense of dread and fear. Okay, so this is super famous actually. I know I've heard mention of this, but this is Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum champion Cynthia Encounter music. Whoa. It's like straight up like Franz Liszt. Wow, that's really cool. So that's just her like pre-music. I think this is her actual battle music. It's like the closest thing to getting evil in Pokemon. We're just climbing up. Love that like really chaotic there harmonically. Key change there slightly. So something really cool about this that I just want to speak on while we're still in the heat of the moment here is that this really feels like Cynthia is like just a brutal adversary, not a very good person, not kind. There's almost the sound of a torrential storm where especially we feel it, the sort of like spinning, almost like the wash cycle of a dishwasher. What? There's a real sense of like constantly spinning in there. And also there's a lot of like little, again, micro dissonance, not that like similar to the Elite Four, where we feel like we're really like, again, not only backed against the wall, but like actively in danger, which feels very different from the Elite Four, which was more like, holy crap, this is kind of stressful. This actually feels like there's like a personal vendetta almost. The other really cool thing is that when we think about the pre-battle music or whatever the encounter music was with that piano, I think that that represents an element of class that we don't necessarily see in a lot of other Pokemon characters. There's a real feeling of almost like luxury or wealth that I think comes across in that music, as much as it pains me to have classical music be attributed to like the bad character or the nemesis or the, you know, the vile one. But that piano music, the Chopinian, Franz Lisztian, Rachmaninovian interpretation there really gives way to a sense of elegance. And so then it's interesting because then we get into this Champion Cynthia battle music and it feels a little bit more like off the ropes. It feels a little bit more unadulterated or untamed. There's a certain quality in this music that feels very ruthless and very no longer putting on airs. So anything that we may have interpreted about Cynthia when we actually get into the conflict with her, this is when we start to get like the claws come out, so to speak. It's a real like, I mean, as brutal as a Pokemon sound can be. Like, why is there all these enharmonics and a bunch of drone there? And it's just picking up in tempo and volume, really. Yeah, and this too. That just sounds really mean and nefarious and risky and dangerous. See, and then there too, that's a really interesting thing because in here we have a bit of a shift and it sounds positive. And that I think is our trainer's theme kind of sort of bubbling over the top of this, but it gets like suppressed really fast. There's a sense of downturn back into Cynthia's theme, even though like there's like, oh, I think we can do it. No, you can't. You know what I mean? And then this little corner feels like Cynthia's confidence and Cynthia's like ability to overtake a foe. And that's danger there. That sound there. And then everything around it, it just sounds off, you know? It feels like we're playing doubles of the chords. I mean, yeah, that piece is pretty intense. Honestly, like it's interesting because Cynthia is a theme that I've heard mentioned quite a bit in when people reference Pokemon's music, and I can see why. I mean, it's interesting how it obviously is quite repetitive, but again, I don't think that that's to its detriment. I actually think that that's to its benefit because it ingrains in us this feeling of oppression, of fear, of nervousness, and obviously the things that make it really interesting. And obviously it's a battle theme because we have that tempo increase and because we have the constant rhythm with just a little bit of melody in there that's sort of overshadowed by the, I hesitate to say brutality, but with the intensity of Cynthia. And then I really appreciated the first sort of encounter piano music as well. I thought that was really surprising and really fun to hear like a classically based thing in there. Let's check out Sootopolis City from Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. I like that. So it's almost improvised. A bit jazzy, I'd say, for sure. Nice counter melody with the piano. Yeah. Interesting harmonic work there with the upper melody and the lower chord structure. Really liking the flutes and this like trumpet, really. That's such a fun little musical gesture. Let's listen to this trumpet melody again because it's such a fun little bop here. I like that. I think it's fun to use like sort of these like flute sounds or clarinet sounds, if you will, to create this, I don't know, obviously the trumpet, it gives way to this sort of laid back quality, but I can also like envision this as a city of, I don't know, like spinsters or folks that have a lot of money. It feels like a big city versus like a small quaint town. There's an air of like peacefulness maybe, or certainly a sound of, almost relaxation, but also it gives way to this feeling of like a business town. You got to know who's who in here. It's fun. I mean, I really like that melody. That's really nice. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember a single city theme. I think like Lavender Town is the scary one, but I don't think I'm so out of it. Let's move over to Area 0 from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. What's Area 0? A bit of mystical sound. Twinkling lights in the sky and... Oh. That's unexpected. It's like, it's, you know... So the thing about a piece like this is that if you didn't have the choir and you just had the twinkling thing, you could say cave, you could say space. But when you add the when you add that and you add the chorus, that immediately makes me think of revelation, godliness, witnessing something much, much larger than you. There's a sense of reverence in that, especially with the way that we hit that heavy trombone sort of tuba sound. And then you add the choir. I mean, it's very evocative of a sense of awe, of being mesmerized over something, yeah? Oh, wow, now we pick up It's like an Arhu almost. Really fun counter melody there. Bum, 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 bum. What's more rhythmic than melodic. And then there's some dissonance there. So I think in that enharmonic, I think that leads, paves the way typically for a sense of danger or stress. That's a really cool song. When the beat pattern comes in, it really feels like we're in an environment that is maybe area 0 is like area 51 or something, where it's housing a Pokemon, or they've discovered some Pokemon in this area and it's like really rare and hard to find. And so that music paves way to this feeling of like I said, awe, or like the feeling of really witnessing something that is of such a rare or grand quality that it leaves you with your jaw on the floor, so to speak. Who knows? I really like that ever so slight syncopation. It really gives way again to like, what? Whoa, it's fun. And then we reset. Oh, this is probably just a loop. I love that we end up doubling the same rhythmic movement with this even higher soundscape. That and it's such a genius thing to go bon, to have both of those come in, but like have the brass sort of lower thing sort of dive in first. I think it really paves way to that large sound, especially it feels really like wide, you know, and then it's like boom right in your face. It's cool. Also, one really interesting thing as well is that short and a tight cutoff, and I think that too is like, whoa, oh my god, it's almost like breathlessness. It's pretty cool. God, this Arhu sound is so cool. Yeah, and this little sound quality too also gives way to this idea of it being an older thing, or something that's very ancient, or something, again, to be revered. You know, honestly, Area 0, of the 3 songs I've listened to so far, Area 0 is actually my favorite so far. It feels the most complete and the most interesting. Well, I guess we're going back to, people really like Pokemon Black and White. I know that, I guess this is like a turn where music was really good in Pokemon, but this is Route 10 from Pokemon Black and White. What? Sounds like Western accordion country at the same time. Nice trade-off there with the melody. You know what's interesting? is that accordion sounds in video games tend to make me feel like they're almost connected to oceans or rivers or certainly brightness. It certainly doesn't sound like a scary track by any stretch of the imagination, but it has a real warmth in it because of that accordion. The accordion is such a interesting instrument, both in the way that it's played, but also in the way that it sounds, and it has this real bright quality to it, and we really do attribute it, I think, with like seaside breezy types of pieces. But this could also just be a warm, happy place, a forest or something really lush, but it feels very vibrant, and I like that about it. Yeah, right. I mean, that's like such a. Is that castanets? That's lovely. And then we resolve. It's so fun. I mean, God, what a great piece. That's so much fun. And also, again, that brightness. That's so inviting. Obviously on routes in Pokemon, and that's where you're doing your battles and stuff, I would assume that Route 10 or Route 10 is no different than that. However, again, there's such an inviting quality to that where it feels like you absolutely want to go for a walk down that route. I mean, imagine you turn the corner and you see a beautiful street and there it's playing this. Like, you're going to go. It's very inviting, and I also really like the double melody there where we trade off. First we start with the accordion, and then we have this beautiful, I forget where they are, I think it's right in here, hold on one second. Yeah. Sounds like oboes and flutes, and it's such a bright quality, especially with the choice of instrumentation. Now, obviously, we're sort of in a MIDI landscape here, but those sounds still allow us to feel brightness because tone matters. Whether it's a dark tone, a bright tone, a warm tone, all these tones change the way that we connect to pieces. Tone is important. Pitch is important. Where we are in a chord structure is important. A lower chord is going to sound really different than a higher chord. And that is a wonderful example of something that is incredibly inviting and really just beautiful to listen to. Let's check out On the Beach at Dusk from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. A little bit of anticipatory qualities there. Feels very reflective, though. Beep, boom, boom, boom. Gorgeous lower brass there, sort of really taking the melody over the top. And usually you don't hear melody in the lower voices. Usually you hear melody in the upper voice, but the upper voices here are actually the ones that are providing us with the rhythmic movement. Some nice taking the baton. What's really neat about this is that what you end up having is you have melody on top and melody on bottom. And so through that is this constant movement of the bum 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 bum. It's almost like the binding of a book. And you open the book, and the binding is always there supporting both halves, the past and the future, or the pages that came before and the pages that are coming later. And I think in this case, it's pretty interesting how On the Beach at Dusk is a very contemplative title. And musically, it sounds extremely contemplative. It sounds like sitting down with a friend and being like, man, life was hard the other day, wasn't it? Man, we really had to face this, this, and this, and this, blah, 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 right? There's a real warm sound in that. And I think that's supposed to symbolize the stunning sunset, if you've ever seen one, which I hope you have. Sunsets can be so cathartic after a day, whether it's been stressful, joyful, sad, somber, beautiful, happy, pleasant. Like a sunset, it's the culmination of a day. And I think that this piece is really exemplifying how a sunset can make us feel at dusk. Is dusk nighttime? Yes. Anyway, all that to say, like, I really appreciate how there's a center point that's keeping us locked in, while above and below we're moving as we please, essentially. And that's gorgeous, actually. The other thing that I'm really missed, this would be so beautiful with a chorus, holy crap. But one of the things that's really exceptional about this is that the chorus is essentially talking to itself. Oh, what a beautiful melody line between those two voices. And that's 4 voices. It almost feels like a fugue or a rondo where we're starting each voice and then it's ending and then another voice comes in. All things considered, it's a pretty simple piece. And yet, again, we can't misconstrue simple with bad, because simple is extremely evocative. It's extremely important. And whether it's complex and you get a Mahler 4 sound, or it's simple and you get, a really pretty, beautiful lullaby, both of those are valid in the scheme of music. And I think it's really, really fun to listen to that, and it's very beautiful. Pokemon Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Zinnia battle music. I'm curious to hear what this battle theme sounds like. What the Hey, accordion again. Wow. Slight key change. So much string movement in here. Again, the elegance and class, definitely danger as well. Makes sense being that it's a battle. That accordion though is so neat. Here we go with the melody again. It's like we reset. Much slower. And then we're back into the tempo. That's such a fun melody line. Yeah. So something really cool about this is that there's obviously tension, but it does feel like there's almost a quality of mutual respect, which is really, really fun because it doesn't feel like it's so serious. It doesn't feel like it's incredibly back against the wall, although it is obviously stressful and there is a little bit of dissonance in there to cause a sense of discomfort. But overall, what's really standing out to me is that there is this moment where Zinnia is looking at you and she's like, let's go. I believe in you. Let's see what you've got. And in that way, there's like a sportsmanship of it. And even though, but I also feel like Zinnia has class and has integrity and isn't necessarily like spitting in your face or trying to get the better of you. She genuinely wants to have a good battle. And even though she's an adversary and to be feared and is scary, there's still this overwhelming sense of like, oh, come on, you've got, like, I don't know, that's that's the vibe I'm feeling. It's quite nice. I really like the melody line here at the peak portion. I think it's around here. Because we reset and like we pause for a second, bring the rhythm back in, and then it takes over here. Right? Like that's so obvious melodically. That's such a great, it's just such wonderful, wonderful phrasing. And it feels so melodically connected to this idea of like, come on, you can do it, push through. And I really like that sort of, that impetus in the music. It's great. Dialga's fight to the finish from, again, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Nice how we start with those flute sounds right away. A lot of rhythm though bubbling over the surface, right? Whoa! Ooh! Can't help but dance there, huh? Really fun soundscape. A lot of determination in that sound, a lot of focus. Almost a sense of desperation, but the rhythm underneath makes it, the sound choices. Oh no, that's very enthusiastic actually. Wow. Love that very high upper edge movement there. It really emphasizes strength of will, doesn't it? That's a gorgeous little corner too, because there what you're having is bum, 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 bum. And then you have the support of the rhythm underneath that. When we pull the melody away, what we're left with is the rhythm. And I think that creates a sense of forward drive. But then the melody is like bum, 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 bum. That's like, okay, I can do this. It's a doubtful piece, but it's a piece that says, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna conquer this feeling of distress because I believe in myself. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like it's a very strong piece, and boy, it's really, really interesting to listen to. And I really, really, really like the use of the sort of islandy soundscapes. And I also think that it's such a warm. And it's certainly provocative emotionally, where it feels like this is the only way that I can succeed in my life. And I need to double down and focus on the task at hand. How do I do that? It feels like Dialga, whoever Dialga, it must be a Pokemon. Dialga is like actively thinking, and that is really fun to listen to. I wanted to check out Volo's battle theme from Pokemon Legends Arceus. Let's listen. First I was afraid. I was petrified. Oh, sorry. Interesting way to start this. Big jumps in the left hand. Now that's a sense of like terror almost, right? What? I have to fight Volo? Nice call and response there. A little bit of topsy-turvy craziness in there. Nice melody in there with the church bells, with the bells mixed in with the strings. Weird optimism there. Nice gliss. Yeah. Classic battle theme. That's such a classical battle theme sound. Interesting rhythm here. That almost makes you feel like you're on edge. Only lasts a little while though. A lot of lower register in the piano. I love piano like this. Almost feels like we're having to go really fast because of the fear of getting stuck. Also feels like Volo's very intelligent. Actually very adversarial, very dangerous even, almost like our lives are on the line. But also it almost feels like Volo is playing with us a little bit. Right there. With that cello and the flute there make us feel like, well, we're really not comfortable, are we? And this is our theme. That's like we have a chance. That's optimism in there. That's so beautiful. What a beautiful little line. Tension. Oh no! A little bit of dissonance there. And this is really off kilter because it just doesn't feel like it's even because of the way that the right hand's moving. Lower register playing there. See, it comes in on an offbeat, I think. Yeah, it comes in when you don't expect it. So much movement. I would really like to watch someone play this in real life. Gorgeous stuff. Really, really intense. Really feels like Volo's almost playing with their food. But there is that little glimmer, and we've heard this in a few of the other battle themes today, that showcase that like, oh, no. You can still do it. But in order to get there, you're going to have to fight this wall of sound. We do get that glimmer of that major key or the climbing of the melody line, a little bit of a legato flowing line that usually symbolizes us. We heard it in the Cynthia theme. We heard it in the Zinnia theme. I think we heard it in the for the Elite Trainer theme. And then here, certainly we hear it in Volo's theme. And boy, I really liked this piece. I mean, obviously it moves at such a wonderful pace, but it's just a real delight to listen to. And yeah, there's a lot more Pokemon that we need to get through. We're just scratching the surface. Thank you for your requests. Thank you for your recommendations. Feel free to add more in the pinned comment below, and let's keep this series going because there's so much Pokemon music I've never listened to, and it's time. Thanks a ton, and I'll see you later. Bye.